government is committed to the development of all regions in Guyana, both hinterland or coastland, and will ensure that all Guyanese are able to benefit from projects, programs, and services which can improve their lives. As we continue to celebrate the Indigenous Heritage Month, on this InfoHub In-Depth, we tell you about the tremendous infrastructural developments ongoing to link the hinterland with the coast.
During its campaign, the coalition government promised greater connectivity between coastland and hinterland. In his first address to the Parliament after the coalition government assumed office, President David Granger reminded that the government's efforts to execute this plan will include important investments in internal transport infrastructure.
Political independence was intended to benefit all Guyanese. Independent Guyana is a unitary state. We are one nation. The challenge of independence was to move forward as an undivided nation. Wide gaps have opened in income between rich and poor, and in the levels of development between rural and urban, and between hinterland and coastland communities. A key objective of our government is the reduction of these inequalities by expanding infrastructure to promote geographical integration and economic inclusivity. Integration and inclusivity, in turn, impact positively on reducing inequalities.
Infrastructure development creates linkages, which in turn spur development. Priority must therefore be given to construction of infrastructure, as has been made clear by President Granger.
Our Ministry of Natural Resources will oversee the sustainable exploitation of our resources, which will require investments in infrastructure, particularly in the hinterland, where our natural resources abound. We can open up our bountiful resources for development only if adequate infrastructure is in place.
These hinterland infrastructural works are placed under the purview of the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, which has a mandate to extend physical infrastructure in order to intensify integration and promote development. Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson has taken up this challenge and is committed to forging those linkages.
From the standpoint of my remit, there will be a concerted effort to ensure that roads, bridges, energy, power generation, and other infrastructure works in the various regions be expanded and developed. Further, there will no longer be separation, rather linkages, which will be forged, and the rich resources from which Guyana is blessed will be made available for all, for the benefit of this great nation.
The first step taken by Minister Patterson towards creating the linkage between the hinterland and the coastland was implementing a program that will see the rehabilitation of the major road network in the hinterland regions.
These roads are intended to facilitate the access to these areas where our natural resources are located, so as to assist our extractive industry production, which currently contributes significantly to the growth of the economy. These roads also facilitate greater connectivity between the coastland and the hinterland. For instance, areas such as Malia, Lethem, and Bartica have seen over the years an increase in commercial activities and in some instances a hub for persons traveling via land from Brazil to mining areas.
Guyana's hinterland includes regions 1, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are located outside the coastal plain, and it is where the mostly indigenous population reside. For years, these communities have experienced difficulties with connecting with the coast. This administration has been effectively addressing the situation.
The government understands the importance of proper roads and the powerful impact it has on the lives of Guyanese, particularly those in the hinterland communities. At Port Kaituma in Region 1, the main corridors and internal roads have seen major upgrades. Prior to the works, the road was in an unacceptable condition. Hinterland engineer Jeffrey Walcott.
We're doing 4 projects actually in Region 1. The two main corridors, which is Port Kaituma to Matthews Ridge. We're doing the road from the airstrip to Pittsburgh. We're also focusing on 2 projects that actually are more so within the community, which is from the township to the wharf and from Port Kaituma to Oronoque. Well, the roads within the community, they're a lot small in scale, but they actually have a lot more unique challenges. So one of the main issues that we're dealing with currently is that the roads actually have a lot more encumbrances. So you have to deal with a lot more residents and vendors who actually encroach within the reserve. And that process itself can be a lot more difficult than doing maybe roads that are what we call primary corridors. We've been working along and engaging the residents, working along with the NDC and engaging the residents. So we're hoping that at least we can get that process started and completed. But I think for the most part, most of the residents seem enthused about the development that is coming their way. The distinction between the roads within the community and maybe the major corridors, we're looking at a rigid pavement for the airstrip to Port Kaituma. But within the communities, we're going to be maintaining the all-weather roads, which is basically an unpaved surface.
This project was executed in phases aimed at equipping hinterland communities with the required infrastructure to provide ease of access to and from the communities, WALCOTT said.
Looking at the long-term vision for Port Kaituma, first and foremost, the community itself has been neglected for, at least in our opinion, way too long. And we really, as part of our plan to develop all of the hinterland regions, we are investing, I mean, it's almost over $700 million within the actual region itself. And we plan on investing a lot more, just so that at least persons within these communities understand that they are being considered, they are part of the development plan nationwide, and our entire goal to, as you say, bridge the gap. We do understand that there are serious challenges in the hinterland, but I think most persons, if not immediately, can look forward to at least some sort of development within the near future. We are out, we're engaging with a lot of persons, and we're doing our best to really roll out projects in a more meaningful and systematic way, so that at least the beneficiaries can be, you know, really significant.
A contract in the sum of $334.2 million was awarded to International Imports and Supplies for rehabilitation of roads from Port Kaituma to Matthews Ridge in Phase 2. Project foreman Eddie Suwarno explained that the rehabilitation works have started from 34 kilometers of Port Kaituma's road to Matthews Ridge.
We using it laterite on the road because that is only the best material so far, I know. We doing in 8 inches to 10. The thickness, right, to keep the road. After we compact and so, maybe get less than 8, 7, or sometimes direct in 8 inches for the road bed.
Meanwhile, in Mabaruma, also in Region 1, after several years, a multi-million-dollar project saw the installation of approximately 3,500 feet of concrete roads or rigid pavements and drains within the community. Hinterland engineer Jeffrey WALCOTT said this venture, which commenced, will see the residents benefiting from their first ever rigid pavements since they are more durable.
The projects are essentially stuck with the rigid pavement design because we found that it is actually working a lot better than the asphalt roads or the DBST roads. In terms of, we're going to continue with that design, and we're going to be rehabilitating the existing bridge for a much more robust concrete structure. The roads were in existence, however, they have been, in my opinion, neglected for a long time. This is basically a complete makeover with hopefully a structure that is going to be around for another 25 to 30 years.
The hinterland engineer pointed out that there are usually other unforeseen challenges, such as unpredictable weather patterns, which may be encountered during the execution of hinterland projects.
Every hinterland location comes with its own challenges. Take, for example, specifically Mabaruma, the topography is maybe similar somewhat to region 7s and 8 in terms of you gotta deal with a lot of hills and so forth. But that in itself makes it unique in itself, away from a project done on the coast or a project done in the savannas. So take, for example, the solutions or the challenges that we deal with in terms of drainage here are a whole lot different because you've got roads that are running at the side of hills, you've got utilities to relocate, you've got to cut into people's properties depending on how the actual alignment is, because safety is also a huge consideration. So I think one of the things that we really wanted to articulate is that when we conceptualize projects or when we're doing projects, we try to have a look at what the end goal is from a holistic sense, because infrastructure is not just about a road or a road being built or a bridge being built or a water system. They all connect and overlap on each other. And understanding those dynamics are fundamental to really getting projects to solve multiple problems. As I maybe would have articulated a little bit before, the issue with utilities, we all have to share space in a very confined area, and I think that in itself poses a huge challenge. So working out with the other utility companies so that we can actually get the work done. Sometimes it's a lot more challenging than you would expect, but we're getting better at it. It requires a lot more engagement, which we are more than happy to do. And we've been getting a lot of support, admittedly from the regional town council, so I'm ecstatic about that.
Residents of both Port Kaituma and Mabaruma are extremely pleased to finally have the new roads and expressed their satisfaction.
Some times ago there was no roads and so on. The first road that was through here was Barama Company. And from when Barama Company left the area, the road gone down, so from bad to worse. And everything would get hard in the village, prices for goods in the shops. And in terms of transportation-wise, used to pay like $40,000 per hour for a 4x4 pickup. And since the road has been rehabilitated, so far we've been getting ease from some stress such as like hardship with the bad road.
The road was in a terrible state, and transportation from here to Matches Ridge used to take like 6-7 hours. 2.5.
I'm very pleased with the road condition, with the government, what he's doing. And I think he's doing much, much more, so much in store for us. And I'm talking from let me say, I'm Amerindian, I'm proud Amerindian. I'm proud for what the government is doing for us.
Cuyuni-Mazaruni Region 7 is a hinterland region which brings to mind natural beauties such as the majestic Pacaraima mountain range. Most of the residents of this region are involved in mining for gold and diamonds. There are 8 Amerindian settlements in the area of the Pacaraimas, where crops are grown. With all these activities in the region, infrastructural development is pivotal.
Region 7 is better known for the famous Bartica town. However, the area has several indigenous communities, including Isano and Karau, among others. Rehabilitation of the Isano and Karau to Bockhall roads are major projects being undertaken by the Ministry of Public Infrastructure. It is part of a bigger project to resuscitate the Bartica-Potaro link. Hinterland engineer Jeffrey Walcott said 35 miles along the roadway to White Hill will be upgraded to an unpaved laterite road.
This is basically one of our other major projects within Region 7. Phase 1 of the Isano Road provides access to a lot of the mining communities. Hopefully in our second phase we can take it straight to the landing, which is on the Isano River. The road is actually an existing sand road. What we did basically is take it to an unpaved or laterite road.
The Isano Road stretches from 75 miles from the Bartica-Potaro Road and extends to 52 miles to the Isano landing. The road, which is primarily used by miners, had deteriorated over the years, making traveling difficult. To this end, a contract in the sum of $92 million was awarded to MEXDEG Mining Company for works on the road. Executive Director Mark SOARES.
We are building the road. It was a very narrow road, sand road, and we trying to widen the whole road so that we could have a safer driving on this road. The current width of the laterite is 21, and you have another 7-8 feet on both sides clearing.
So how take y'all making it? Like how many layers or so?
Well, that is a lot of our challenges because the laterite is supposed to be 6 inches thick, and some places we go in 12 inches.
Like roads, bridges are also very vital to the development of the hinterland communities. Structurally sound bridges provide a safe crossing for people and vehicles to travel from one prominent city of industrial strength to another. Included in the infrastructural works on Karau to Bockhall are the rehabilitation of 4 bridges. Hinterland engineer Jeffrey Walcott.
Bridges have always been one of the sore points, at least for hinterland corridors, because of the kind of loads that they face and the maintenance associated with it. Our design department, specifically bridges, has modified the design to make a more economical and more robust bridge, capable of carrying at least 40 tons right now. So those are actually going to be built along this corridor. What we're actually doing right now is adjusting the roadway to fit back into the bridges. They're being elevated as well to accommodate the high water levels. So we won't have bridges that are being submerged during the wet season anymore. And at least we're going to be looking at bridges that last a much longer time. We rehabilitated bridges, but essentially it's saying we basically built new bridges. Because if you look at what the old bridges looked like, they were pretty much just logs across waterways. So these are completely new structures in place of existing or pre-existing amenities. One of the primary issues that we have within our hinterland community is the kind of, basically stress that the bridges go through due to the heavy loads that most persons, loggers and miners have to transport. As a function of that, the design itself had to be modified to accommodate what we're actually dealing with on a daily basis. So it's not just a matter of upgrading the corridor, but you really have to upgrade the actual ancillary items that come with it, so the bridges as well.
Pataro-Siparuni Region 8 borders the Cuyuni-Mazaruni region to the north. This district is home to the famous Kaitro Falls, one of the highest single-drop waterfalls in the world, as well as the Oranjuke Falls. The people of this region, like their neighbors, are similarly involved in gold and diamond mining and forestry. Due to close proximity of both regions to each other, a project which will see a direct link from Bartica in Region 7 and Madia in Region 8 after more than 30 years. WALCOTT said it will serve as an impetus to the fulfillment of the government's vision to link the coast and the hinterland.
This is part of our bigger project, one of our bigger group of projects to resuscitate the Bartica-Patara corridor. It was once very active in the 70s and provides an alternate route between, for most of the hinterland traffic between Bartica and Madia, sorry.
Also, rehabilitative works were completed on several main roads in the region, including Madia to Brian Sucre Junction. Wendell St. Pierre, engineer for Region 8, explains.
This lot is basically the initial lot of the rehabilitation of the main road, which actually starts from Madia to Georgetown. This lot covers about 17 miles of the road, which is being done by JR Ranch. And we will have done some initial grading of the road and also some bush clearing from the shoulders. And at this particular hill, we would have done some stabilizing because in times past, this hill was one of the hills that usually got very bad during the rainy season. So we introduced the geocell technology for this particular road. And so far, we would have completed 400 feet, and we are still to do another 400 feet of stabilization to this particular road. Well, this road was completely bad from, well, let me say from Madia and directly to Rizrock, which is in Linden. But this Brian Sucre to Madia stretch was also bad. And it used to take you about an hour and 45 minutes to get from Madia to Brian Sucre. Now it's just about an hour. Right, so the road was very bad, and this hill, as I said before, had to be stabilized because this is one of the hills that attract used to be parked right up the hill to pull vehicles up the hills because the buses and all the cars used to be stuck right here. And sometimes the trucks would come here and have to spend like a day or two just for the hill to blow off so that they can go up the hill.
80% of the roads in Madia were upgraded from laterite roads to concrete structures, built to last for decades. The project, which commenced in 2015, was executed in 2 lots. Hinterland engineer Jeffrey WALCOTT said amidst the challenges, this achievement serves as a motivation to continued development.
It's been a project that has been a long time in the making, and it is quite a relief to see the results. The residents are very happy and very satisfied, and I would say it's transformed the community, to be honest. Most persons, in my opinion, could not really see the long-term benefits, but a few months into the projects where we're almost out, wrapping up, everyone is really, I think, welcomed the change.
Prior to the completion of the road project, residents contended with dust pollution and potholes. Residents expressed their satisfaction of the finished product.
Well, this is a great initiative by the government of the day. The previous administration, we had nothing like this. They've neglected us, I should say, forget about us. But I should say compliments to the president. He has promised us a good life, and we can see he's delivering. Great work, Mr. Patterson and central government. We're looking for more infrastructure, and we're going to continue to support you guys.
It's real excellent for the road finish because over the years we had a lot of losses with business. Health ways, the dust inhaling over the years. It's like, a whole 10-year life cut off there.
And before now, the road was kind of laterite, right, red road, and it is very disgusting. The dust, especially in the dry weather time, the dust, cause a lot of chaos on our rooftop, especially at time, and when the rain come down now, So I'm very thankful for this road here, because I don't think the dust would affect us that much now, right? And it would be beneficial for us and our kids in the long term.
Upper Takatu, Upper Essequibo Region 9 is the largest region of Guyana. With its grassy savannas, the Rupununi is considered to be cattle country. Meanwhile, the inland region of Upper Demerara, Upper Berbice Region 10 contains the largest portion of the hilly sand and clay area. Preparatory work continues apace for start of construction of the Linden-Lethem Road to link the two regions. Maintenance works are also ongoing.
The journey from Lethem to Georgetown takes as much as 13 hours depending on the condition of the road. The government is pushing to complete the Linden-Lethem Road, which will also link Guyana and Brazil. The Guyanese and Brazilian authorities are working to complete the terms of reference for the design for the Lethem to Mabura Hill Road, which covers approximately 125 kilometers of the road and also includes a bridge's construction across Kurpakari River. Hinterland engineer Jeffrey Walcott said paving works will start from Wizrock to Rockstone Junction.
The Linden-Lethem corridor is basically primarily the only corridor or the most significant corridor that connects the coastline with the hinterland as a function of improving, I guess, the overall accessibility, reducing the economic costs associated with traveling along the road, as well as making it safer for everyone. There are several initiatives that we've actually started to do along the corridor. Particularly, we're looking at maintenance signage, drainage in particular, but as a part of a bigger initiative, which basically looks at paving the Rockstone to Mabura segment. We're trying to bridge the gap between Linden and Rockstone Junction. So as I said, or as I mentioned before, early next year we want to start the preparatory works to get that going. This corridor is the Wizrock to Rockstone Junction corridor. Represents one of our major projects next year, and will be basically the first phase of the paving of the, I guess, Linden to Mabura project. We are going to actually start the preparatory works hopefully early next year. I'm not quite sure about the exact timeline, but if we can pave next year as well, that would be fantastic.
Properly designed and maintained roads are critical for a country's growth and development. Therefore, in addition to rehabilitation and construction, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure has also been maintaining road networks in Regions 9 and 10.
In addition to executing its urban projects within the Regions 9 and 10, the Ministry is continuing with its corridor-based approach for its major hinterland roads. As you would know, this continues, well, the section that starts in Linden to Kopakari, which we have covered in Region 10. And now we started from Kopakari to Lethem in Region 9. So fundamentally, the project is going to entail, or the project, I should say, year-long maintenance, which primarily covers all the road safety elements, addressing bush clearing, drainage, which is a huge factor, as you know, that affects the longevity of roads. And finally, I think we should be covering a bit of lighting as well.
The roads in Lethem have been in an unacceptable state for years, and the council as well as residents have advocated for new roads. Their calls were heeded, and the Ministry of Public Infrastructure committed to upgrading 5 kilometers of the road network. Region 9 engineer RAFAEL Lewis.
On Barrack Retreat, we will be recapping the road with the many holes that are there right now, right? So it will be a smooth pavement, and we'll also eventually get to widening it, right, into a 4-lane. Right now we have a design with a 2-meter median and a walkway. What we're also going to do is putting some drains, because the drainage in Lethem is basically non-existent. So with the new drainage, right, during rainy season it won't be flooded as bad.
The Tabachinga Main Road, Tabachinga Drive, right through to School Street, Middle Street and the Airport Road are the other roads that will also be upgraded. Continued development of the country's infrastructure both on the coast and in the hinterland will undeniably boost growth and economic development. Recognizing this, the government has allocated $32 billion in the 2018 national budget towards improved infrastructure. From this amount, $1.5 billion will go towards upgrades in the hinterland regions.